Good morning, good morning. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing Gather the Spirit, hymn 347 in the Gray Hymnal.
We all have, without exception, a very deep longing to give to the earth, to give to others, to give to the society, to work, to love, to care for the earth.
And so there's a tremendous sorrow for a human being who doesn't find a way to give. One of the worst of human sufferings is not to find a way to love, or a place to work and give of your heart and your being. Because life gives itself to you in its giving. You want to give back.
We all have a deep longing to give to the earth, to give to others, to love, to care for this earth.
And if you're blocked and can't give back, there's a tremendous frustration. It's like a starving person sitting in a banquet hall and being hungry because they can't eat the food that's there. You're just frustrated because you can't get to what you really want to do.
We all have a deep longing to give to the earth, to give to others, to love. We light our chalice this morning, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. May it guide our path to generosity of heart, mind, and spirit. May we be carriers of its light of radical welcome and warmth into wholeness, liberation, and into the one circle of life. Good morning. Welcome on this Thanksgiving Sunday to the Eno River Unitarian Universalist Fellowship here in Durham, North Carolina. My name is Reverend Daniel Trollinger, Executive Minister here. And whoever you are, wherever you come from, whoever you love, whatever your race or gender identity, wherever you are on your spiritual journey or search for truth and meaning, we welcome you here. If you are visiting for the first or second time, we invite you to rise in body or spirit so that we can give you a warm ERUUF welcome. If you're watching on the live stream, introduce yourself in the chat. In between services at 10 o'clock every Sunday, there's a class for newcomers, an inquirers class. So please join us, and that's in the building next door. If you have children or youth with you, they are welcome to join one of our religious exploration classes as the children are sung out. Not after the time of all ages this morning, but a different point in the service. So just listen to Reverend Jim and you'll know where to go. Special music today is provided by Sunshine Kids and Chalice Singers, so we thank them for their gifts. Now would be a good time to silence any devices that you might have on your person. So let us center ourselves and open to the gifts of this day. Let us begin.
Good morning, ERUUF. Oh, it was almost there. Good morning, ERUUF. There we go. That's better. Now, I'm coming to you today with my adult programs hat on to speak to you of connecting to one another. You see a QR code up on that screen. I'm going to get to that in a moment, but I want you to keep it in mind because I would love so many of you to scan that code today, and I'll tell you about it. So one of the things that is most important in any community is that we come together to connect with each other, be that in worship, in play, or in learning and deepening. Another thing that is important to ERUUF, and we see this actually in a lot of responses from the congregation, I think to the Pulse survey last year. Another thing that's important to you at ERUUF is deepening together. Now, we see this in worship, we see this in play, and we also see it in a variety of adult programs at ERUUF, from Sunday morning classes to the midweek ministers classes to weekend spiritual practice retreats, and a whole lot more that I don't have time to mention here. And we need something from you so that we can help you connect. We need to hear your voice. We want to make sure that we are planning programs that you want to attend, that they're at times that work for those of you who want to come, and that you're actually hearing and seeing about these programs. We want to make sure that it is getting to your eyes, it is getting in your head, so it can get your feet and your wheels and all of your body moving to these places. So, we're going to be holding 3 focus groups where we can get your feedback. We want you to come to one of these groups. All 3 are going to be the same. Don't come to all 3. Just kind of come to one. We want to hear what you want to do and when you want to do it, and answers to other questions too. So the QR code on screen will take you directly to a sign-up form for the 3 groups, and those groups will take place this Friday, December 1st, at 7 p.m. on Zoom, next Wednesday, December 6th, at 7 p.m. on Zoom, and then Sunday, December 10th, after the 11 o'clock service in person at ERUUF. Also, you can find this information in the Friday e-news. You can go onto the website and look it up. There are many ways to access, but we want you to sign up because we want to hear from you. We hope to see you at one of these sessions so that we can know better how to plan for deepening and connection with all of our ERUUF community. Thank you. Go for it.
I was working part-time when I read a plea in the People's Alliance newsletter for a volunteer to work in their office for a few hours every week to help PA's one very part-time employee. As I'm always looking for ways to further a good cause without having to knock on doors or make phone calls, I volunteered. And that was how I met Kate Feldman. Working with Kate was an eye-opener for me. I have always been a detail person, and most of my career was spent in detail-oriented work, like writing computer manuals and testing software. Kate, on the other hand, is a big picture person. I must confess that from time to time, as I struggled to sort out household memberships from individual memberships and to make sure that we had the correct employment information from each of our donors, I was frustrated at Kate's failure to understand that People's Alliance might collapse if we got one detail wrong. But most of the time, I appreciated how our different orientations resulted in a collegial and effective collaboration. And I soon came to appreciate just how creative, knowledgeable, and daring Kate was. So while I was surprised by the particulars when You Can Vote emerged, first under the auspices of the People's Alliance Fund, I was not surprised that Kate had decided to create something big and worthwhile and challenging, something that could change the voting landscape in North Carolina and maybe beyond. Over the years, I've spent many hours behind the scenes in various You Can Vote offices. I've counted out fridge cards into bundles of 50 or 100. I've prepared clipboards for canvassers. I've drawn walking routes for canvassers. I've entered voter registration data into a database. I even went out to register voters one day, managing to snag only one, and at the same time managing to leave a key piece of information off the form so that someone else had to contact the voter to correct my error. After that, I decided I should stick to the behind-the-scenes stuff. You Can Vote began in 2014 as an all-volunteer effort in response to the Supreme Court decision that rolled back major voting protections in the Voting Rights Act. It is now an organization with a budget of around $2 million. Kate's dream of developing community leaders who educate, register, and empower North Carolina residents to vote is currently in 64 of North Carolina's 100 counties. With a focus on populations that have been historically marginalized, disenfranchised, and underrepresented, You Can Vote has educated more than 1 million voters in one-on-one interactions and in classroom presentations. Speaking of classroom presentations, I personally am particularly impressed with the work that You Can Vote does in public schools and on college campuses to educate young people and to motivate them to participate in civic life. How can you not love an organization whose director of education and training has a degree in theater for social change? In 2020, as the election cycle was gearing up, Eric and I were looking for ways to channel some of our donations to a local organization where our money might make a meaningful difference. The one that we chose to support in this way was You Can Vote, because of their history, their accomplishments, and my personal connection with Kate that gave us confidence in this organization. I hope that you'll join us in supporting them. Thanks.
It is now time for the offering at a different spot in the service. As Helen was sharing, the collection for November will go to You Can Vote. You can point your device at the QR code here or go to the website online. Thank you for your ongoing support of this fellowship and for this special giving month of November. We give thanks for the many gifts that support the sustaining and thriving of this community, especially the gift of music. Thank you.
And now it is that time again for our smallest and our mediumest and our largest and anybody else who wants to come down for a story to come on down for a story. Ooh, let me find that stool. Come on down. Hello, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Some of our folks from the other choir coming up too. Hello, good to see you. Hello, good to see you. Hello, good to see you. Wonderful, wunderbar. Loving it, loving it. Oh, and some of our taller folks are coming down also. I love it. How many people know what the golden rule is? Okay, so a few of us, it's, what is the golden rule again? I have forgotten. Something about being kind, something about... Have fun. I like it. Maybe not the golden rule, but I do like it. What is it?
Treat other people how
Yes, treat other people like you want to be treated. Now being kind does play into that, and hopefully having fun plays into it too. But there's this other way of thinking about it called the platinum rule. Does anybody know what I'm talking about if I say the platinum rule? It's less official. What? Treat others the way they want to be treated. There's a little more nuance there. It's a little more nuanced. There's a little more mindfulness that takes. And so we're going to reflect on a little bit of that today when we're in this story, that mindfulness that it takes when we want to be kind. And we start in this story of when we are kind with, I am kind when I help my family. How many people, welcome. How many people have helped their family this week? In some way, shape, or form. How many people have ever helped their family? That's the easier one. Yes. I am kind when I share with my friends. How many people like it when your friends share with you? How many people do a good job of sharing with your friends? Yeah. How many people helped share dish duty this week? Anybody? Okay, a few of us. Sometimes it's also sharing those harder things, and welcome to you also. I am kind when I take my dog for an extra long walk. How many people have taken their dog for an extra long walk? A few of us. Now, this is one of those places where the platinum rule comes up. Because your dog might want to go for an extra long walk. Will your cat want to go for an extra long walk? No. Probably not. There might be a few cats, but not many of them. I am kind when I help my neighbor. How many people have helped their neighbor? Ever, really? Okay. I am kind when I bring food to my elders. Your elders being maybe your grandparents, maybe just the people who are older than you and important to you. How many people have brought food to their elders? Okay, all right. I am kind when I only take from the earth what I need. That can be a tricky one. Only take from the earth what you need. How many people think they do a really good job only taking from the earth what they need? You try? How many people try and only take from the earth what they need? How many people are like, oh, that's something I need to do, but I haven't really gotten a good start on that? Yeah. It's a good thing to do. It takes some learning sometimes. So trying is the best place where that starts from, right? You got to start by trying. I am kind when I take care of myself and get a good night's sleep. How many people are good at this? How many people are still working on this one? It is kindness to yourself, though, to get that good night's sleep. I have to remind myself of that. Whew, I'm not good at that sometimes. You try and fall asleep, and sometimes you can't, but you're trying. You always don't fall asleep. Yeah. How many people wake up in the middle of the night? There's a lot of adults there, too. Well, maybe in a second. We're going to keep rolling for now, though. I feel joy when my family and I are kind. How many people have ever felt joy from being kind? You felt that happiness when you were kind. I feel happy when my friend is kind to me. How many people feel happiness when their friend is kind to them? I feel comforted when my cat is kind to me. How many people have felt comforted when their cat is kind? You don't have a cat, so your cat can't, right? That's okay. Sometimes we don't. Dogs can also be good at giving comfort, though.
I have a dog, a cat, and fish.
Excellent. I feel loved when my elders are kind to me. When your grandparents or your great-grandparents are kind to you or have been kind to you, or even older folks who are really important in your life, Yeah. Bet you many of you have felt that way when elders have been kind to you. I feel grateful when the earth is kind to me. I don't know that one. When the crops grow, when the rain shows up, when it needs to, but not too much of the rain. It gets a little complicated. It's a complicated formula. I feel respectful when I am kind to myself. Whew.
My new favorite page of the book.
That's your new favorite page of the... That's a tricky one, loves. That's a tricky one. When we are kind, we remember we are all related. Maybe that's close family. Maybe that's distant family. Maybe it's chosen family. Maybe it's all just like knowing each other and being part of like the human family. We all have those connections. And so as we progress in our service, listen for connections. And you will go to RE, but not yet. Not yet. I will tell you in a moment. I will let you know when it's time to go. But first, I'm going to ask you to head back to your seats. And we will let you know when it is time. And for the meantime, stay connected to the congregational family in this room.
Let's sing together. Please rise.
Together in joyful thanksgiving, acclaiming creation whose bounty we share, both sorrow and gladness you find now in our living we sing.
A hymn of praise to the life that we bear. We gather together to join in the journey, confirming, committing our passage to be a true affirmation in joy and tribulation, when bound to human care and hope, then we are free. Please turn and greet your neighbors this beautiful morning.
I ask you now to find a comfortable body position. If you are comfortable with doing so, let your eyes lose focus or close, and join me in meditation and the deep ask of prayer. Spirit of life, source of love, as these days wind in and out, journeying toward blessed chill and darkness, I find myself, like many of us, holding all the challenges of the world, the pain, the suffering, the conflict, personal, local, and worldwide. I see the news and our conversations around the news and find myself in prayer on how we might come together and I hear the phone ring or the email ding, letting me know many of the very, very real challenges held here in this space, bringing pain, complication, fear, challenge to those among us, both the spoken and the unspoken. All of that is very real. How do we feel anything but pain, knowing the sorrow is real? The reality is that they both always exist together. Sometimes in the midst of the challenge, it is hard to point our mindfulness also toward the joy. But that is part of why we hold joys and concerns together, to hold the entirety of our human experience up in contemplation. Today in particular, we hold Barbara and Jim Putney as they welcome their third grandchild, who was born to Katie and Michael Ellis on November 14th. We hold that joy of a new family member welcomed. And I ask you today to hold in silence someone who has given you kindness or care in the past year, someone who saw you and said, "Hey, I know how to give some good to this person." And also hold someone who you gave kindness to in this year, someone you realized you could give some goodness to in the way that they needed. So take a moment now to reflect on these kindnesses. For all that we are blessed to give and for all that we are blessed to receive, thank you, amen, and blessed be.
Shalom, shalom.
And now we invite our lovely singers and all of the children in the space to go ahead and continue their religious exploration in the care building. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the Spirit of
Sacred Rest, Recover Your Life, Renew Your Energy, Restore Your Sanity by Sandra Dalton Smith. Every day, you make choices about how to spend your time, your energy, your attention, and your resources. Some of these choices will be decisions you make after contemplation and careful consideration, but most of your choices will be an automatic response to situations, ideas, assumptions, or circumstances that occur during the day. How many times have you set a goal to exercise or eat better, but then when you've planned to work out or cook, you've got more pressing matters vying for your time? Every yes and every no is a choice. And these choices affect your future. Your choices do not operate in a vacuum. They affect you as well as everyone and everything attached to you. Most choices will have a profound impact on your well-being. Your life and your enjoyment of it are the sum of the choices you make. Good choices increase joy and blessings in your life, while poor choices increase worry and fear. It's important to be mindful of the choices you make. You always have the gift of choice. But the power to choose better is a matter of the heart. The power to choose better begins with rest. Rest is always a good decision for a tired body or weakened spirit. A well-rested life is a secret hidden in plain sight. It's a life strengthened by winding down the expectations of others and charging up your expectations for yourself. You become in tune with what you need to be at your best. You become comfortable with your strengths and knowledgeable about your weaknesses. You then use that information to pour into the areas needing strengthening and reinforce areas already strong. You find your sweet spot in living, loving, being, doing, and resting. Rest is a heart choice. You can choose to stay bound by your daily planner and calendar, or you can declare freedom from the bondage of your hectic schedules. Every heart needs rest. What heart choices do you need to make to live a well-rested life?
Have you ever been on either side of this conversation? Are you listening to me? Okay, tell me what I said. Then the words are repeated back verbatim. Yes, those are the words, but are you really paying attention? I think every child or parent in the history of the world can recognize this conversation. Something is missing, right? What is it? What are we looking for in that moment? Attentiveness, connection, yes. Understanding, maybe. What communicates that someone is actually with us? Being present to a conversation, in a relationship, even a sermon, is more than the ability to repeat back words. Being present can be a matter of degree, sort of like a dimmer light switch. It can be completely off, it can be on a little bit, I'm paying attention, sort of. I'm more engaged, or I'm fully engaged and connected. In any given moment, what does it mean to be fully present to ourselves, to others, and to life? This is where the practice of mindfulness invites us to be in the present and notice, where is our awareness? This month's theme in worship and religious exploration is generosity. And we have heard about different ways to approach this, to be generous of heart, to recognize the distinction between giving and sharing. In a congregation, sometimes the word generosity can be a thinly veiled euphemism for asking for money. Time, talent, and treasure is one of the frames we use here at ERUUF. We offer our time, we share our gifts, and we also make tangible financial contributions. All of that is good and necessary to keep a community thriving. But today, I would like to look at this theme of generosity in a different way, to see how we approach life, people, situations, even community, relative to how present or engaged we might be. Our attention is one of our most precious resources. So what gets in the way of being fully present? Let's explore. Time, or at least the perception of time. I'm busy. My plate is full. My schedule is full. Time, not enough time. And then there's distractions. The greatest tool for connection and information in the world might also be the greatest source of distraction as well. The smartphone. You go anywhere right now, this is what you see. Now, inviting a little bit of mindfulness is not going to move the needle on human behavior to disengage from screen time. So it's going to take more than this. It's going to take more than a mindfulness app on your phone reminding you to pay attention every 30 minutes. Life is busy, and our attention is pulled in many different directions, sometimes at once, pulling us apart. It feels like there's external distractions, there's internal distractions, full schedules, but the number one thing I believe that gets in our way of our ability to be fully present is fatigue. People I talk to all over the country and the world, different professions, different stages of life, from the very young to more seasoned, often report feeling tired, overwhelmed, stressed, burnout, or flat. While we may all be functioning, often it seems like we're running on empty. Post-pandemic life has left us with some degree of fatigue that is hard to pinpoint or remedy quickly. Early in the summer, as I entered a time of study leave and vacation, I was determined to set a new set of life routines to support a more sustainable work-life balance. I'm very grateful for the work of ministry here and being in community with you, but the reality is I felt exhausted most of the time. And I knew that I was not unique in this feeling. I was traveling out west with my oldest daughter, Joelle, and I was sharing this with her, and she asked, have you ever heard of the 7 types of rest? I had not, so I asked her to teach me. So she walked me through it, shared an article, and I became intrigued. I discovered there's many people writing articles about this, from Psychology Today to the Boston Globe, all variations on the theme from a book by Sandra Dalton Smith, MD. The book is called Sacred Rest, Recover Your Life, Renew Your Energy, Restore Your Sanity. Miss Joan read a portion of that book. She developed this in responding to very nonspecific reports of her patients about being tired and exhausted with no underlying medical condition. She developed a broader approach for addressing ways to create rest, balance, and wholeness. So I will review this with you briefly, but know that there are more resources online. You just look up 7 types of rest. You can see Dr. Dalton Smith on YouTube doing a TED Talk. There's more depth and detail that we can go into. On her website, there is even a rest quiz that you can take to identify where you might have rest deficits. But you could also, with a little bit of self-reflection, this will become self-evident. So, briefly, 7 types of rest. Physical rest, we're probably most familiar with this, has a passive component, like purposeful stillness. We could call that meditation, sleeping or napping, all good. And an active component of practicing body fluidity, that is, moving. This could be simple stretching, walking, yoga, this kind of thing. To rest the body full, think stillness and movement is the yin-yang of physical rest. Mental rest is taking a break from the constant mental stimulation that we face every day. We live in a world that is always on, and it can be challenging to unplug, slow down, and give our brains a break. When we rest mentally, we give our brains a chance to process information, to recharge, which helps us stay focused and balanced. Mental rest can include activities like turning off devices, fasting from social media, practicing meditation, or just taking short breaks in the day. Social rest. One of the ways of evaluating your social rest is to think about all your relationships. When you're spending time with people, do you feel energized or drained, or both? Understanding the limits of our social battery can help us realize when we need to recharge. When we rest socially, we give ourselves time to reset and maintain our emotional boundaries, avoid social burnout, yet still stay connected. Sensory rest. I think we can recognize this one. We live in a world of constant stimulation. We have screens, conversations, lights, music, pets, all good. Cars, in this season, leaf blowers, and more. Sensory rest means taking a break from the constant sensory input that we encounter every day. A helpful exercise is something called 5 senses grounding, which allows us to focus on one of our senses at a time and to ground, pay attention, and center in that sense, and then move through all 5. This is a way to reset. When we rest our senses, we give our bodies time to recover from overstimulation and helps to reduce stress. Emotional rest means taking a break from the emotional demands that we face. This gives ourselves time to process our feelings, which helps to maintain emotional balance. Emotional rest can be especially challenging because we may feel guilty for taking time for ourselves. It's important to remember that self-care is not selfish. It is a way to nurture our whole being, especially our emotional body. Creative rest. One way you can tell that there's a deficit in this area is that you have a hard time being innovative, brainstorming, or problem solving. Creative rest is the rest we experience when we allow ourselves the time and space to appreciate beauty. Whether it's beauty of the natural world or created beauty, art, music, poetry, dance. Creative rest can include activities like putting ourselves in the way of beauty, pursuing a hobby we love, or engaging in a creative activity like painting, knitting, or even cooking. When we rest creatively, we give our mind and body time to explore new ideas, which helps us to stay inspired and motivated. And then there's spiritual rest. This is connecting with something deeper, something greater than ourselves. Spiritual rest can mean adding purpose to our lives, maybe through finding a sense of community in a group or organization that creates acceptance, welcome, and intention. This could be through volunteer, community outreach, or different spiritual practices. As Jim mentioned, the ministers will be offering a spiritual practice retreat in January, so stay tuned. When we rest spiritually, we give ourselves time to connect with our inner selves. This helps us stay grounded, centered, and fulfilled. Now, spiritual rest needs vary based on someone's belief system, but at the core is a universal need that we all have to feel a sense of belonging and to also know that we can contribute. So in looking at 7 types of rest in this brief overview, hopefully there is something that you might consider making a change in your life routine. But remember, rest, renewal, restoration requires more than just unplugging once in a while, taking a nap, or going on vacation. A strategy of small things can help build a new pattern, which can help us feel better, recharged, and more balanced. And this is what I did over my summer to come back to full schedules and demands with a practice of rest in each area. So, what does having a more detailed outline of rest have to do with the spiritual journey? How does that help? Well, first, acknowledging that there are different types of rest needed to create a more balanced life provides a framework, a richer framework, through which we can direct our attention and focus. When we are less depleted and more balanced, we are able to share our gifts more fully in relationship and in community. We also have a greater capacity to be fully present, to have the light switch turned fully up in all the things that we do. I shared this rest framework with Reverend Jacqueline in August when we all returned, and it was incorporated into one of our staff retreats. And so I learned even more listening to staff members talk about how they might engage this in their own life. So if you pick this up and run with it a little bit, please share with me insights you might gather along the way about your rest journey. So what heart choices do you need to make to be fully present and live a well-rested life? Addressing rest in a more holistic way provides us with greater inner resources to create a more fulfilling life. Giving of ourselves from a place of balance and fullness feels very different than giving from stressed and stretched. Meditation and the practice of mindfulness are powerful ways to reset and recenter both body and spirit. What else? What else helps you become more fully present? I know that if we had time for a conversation, we could come up with a long list together. But let me just add one idea into the mix here. Curiosity. I wonder. No, tell me more. When we lean in with curiosity, it sparks something. It's one of the keys to igniting intention, cultivating awareness, and being fully present. Curiosity. Years ago, I was driving in Colorado with some friends to a retreat. and we were all noticing these beautiful aspen trees in the mountains. Before we arrived at our destination, I suggested that we pull off and take a closer look because I was curious. This turned out to be a very playful moment with photos and laughter. Trees actually have a lot to teach us in general. They also have something to teach us about paying attention. In my blog post this week, I shared a bit about the superpower that trees have, in particular, recent research on aspen trees. In Utah, there is a forest of 48,000 trees, aspen trees. The oldest aspen is 14,000 years old. So how is it these trees, these aspens, have survived cold winters, droughts, insects for so long? Originally, it was thought to be survival of the fittest, outcompeting other trees for sunlight, water, and nutrients. But new research reveals something different. It shows that trees have learned how to cooperate and communicate through an underground fungal network or through scent signals in the air. The trees ask for help and respond to by sharing nutrients with other trees. And this is how they survive, together. This is not simply a collection of trees, it's a community. Every tree belongs to the forest community by having a place within it. Trees harness the power of the collective to ensure their survival by literally reading the air or paying attention. So just like a tree is part of a forest, we too are part of different communities, an intricate network of people who rely on one another. As one global human family on this earth journey, our collective survival, much like a tree depends on its forest, our collective survival is determined by our ability to connect and cooperate, care and share, and pay attention. Buddhist meditation teacher Jack Kornfield writes, "We all have, without exception, a very deep longing to give to the earth, to give to others, to give to the society, to work, to love, to care for the earth. Every day we make choices about how we spend our time, energy, resources, and attention. The seeds we are planting today with our choices and actions reflect what we care about. We are in a web of mutual interdependence, and as such, our choices matter. What we pay attention to or not matters. The practice of mindfulness is a reminder that our attention is a precious gift. The practice of rest is a way to become fully present, engaged, and connected. In this season of Thanksgiving, we often focus on what we're grateful for. And as we enter a month full of holiday celebrations and activities in December, with so many demands on our time and energy, may it also be a time where we cultivate a richer practice of rest and renewal. May it be a time to be mindful of how we direct our attention, how we engage, connect, listen, and share. May it be a time we consider what we would like to offer ourselves in community, our unique contributions all coming together in this interconnected web of life here. May it also be a time of sacred rest, where each of us can find the sweet spot in living, loving, being, doing, and resting. May it be so. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be.
Let's sing together. Please rise in body or spirit And join me in singing Life is the Greatest Gift of All, hymn number 331 in your gray hymnal.
Life is the greatest gift of all, the riches on this earth. Life and its creatures, great and small, of high and lowly birth. So treasure it and measure it with deeds of shining worth. Mind is the brightest gift of all, its thought no barrier mars. It seeks creation's hidden plan, its quest surmounts all bars. It rains the wind, it changes the storm, it weighs the outmost stars. We are of life, its shining gift, the measure of all things. Up from the dust our temples lift, our vision soars on wings. For seed and root, for flower and fruit, our grateful spirit sings.
Our closing words today come from poet David White. Rest is the conversation between what we love to do and how we love to be. Rest is the essence of giving and receiving, an act of remembering, imaginatively and intellectually, but also physiologically and physically. Rested, we are ready for the world. In rest, we reestablish the goals that make us more generous, more courageous, more of an invitation, someone we want to remember, and someone others would want to remember too. Go in peace. Go in love.